Hello, very good morning and welcome to Athavan newspaper highlights. Today is Saturday, 15th of October 2016. This is Edward Udedas Devasagayam Pillai with the highlights of today's English newspapers. As usual, we have three newspapers for the highlights: Daily Mirror, Daily News and Ceylon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Daily Mirror. The main headline says, Focus on government policy decisions. President PM to head a new committee on matters such as the war crimes probe, budgetary provisions and constitutional reforms. In the wake of President Maithripala Sirisena's outburst against the purported politicization of police, a committee headed by him and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is to be set up to take policy decisions of the government regarding matters such as the war crime probes, budgetary provisions and constitutional reforms, it is learnt. Alleged suicide note. Retired army officer claims he killed Lasantha. A 52-year-old retired sergeant major attached to the intelligence unit of the army had allegedly committed suicide after writing a letter claiming that he had assassinated Sunday leader editor Lasantha Wickrematunge. Sergeant Major Ilandarage Jayamanne was a resident of Karandupana in Kaigol. The letter had been titled "To Whom It May Concern," according to the Kaigol police. The letter claimed he was responsible for the murder and his friend Malinda Udalagama was innocent and therefore had requested the authorities to release him. The father of three had requested that his letter be handed over to the intelligence unit. Rathupaswala killing of youth established as a crime. The killing of three youth in the Veliveria town during a protest campaign demanding drinking water for Rathupaswala was yesterday declared as an act of crime by Gambaha Chief Magistrate Ms. Kavindhyana Nayakara. Magistrate orders sale of land in Malwana. Pagoda Magistrate and Additional District Judge D.A. Ruwan Pathirana yesterday ordered the Registrar of the Pagoda Court to sell by public auction the 16-acre property allegedly belonging to former Minister Basil Rajapaksa located at Gangabad Road in Maptikama in Malwana and deposit the money realized into the account of the case. Secondly, let's move to Daily News. Bribery Commission Chairman to quit. He says continuing in his post would be an embarrassment. Justice Veerasurya also worked for the Judges Institute. Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption chairman Justice T.B. Veerasurya is likely to tender his resignation, well-informed sources said. Justice Veerasurya was a forthright judge during his tenure as a Supreme Court judge and also continued his work with the same diligence as the CIA BOC chairman. The recent remarks by President Maithripala Sirisena with regard to Bribery Commission has extremely upset Justice Veerasurya and he has expressed his desire to quit his job. He had explained that his continuation in his post would be an embarrassment. Justice Veerasurya has also worked for the Judges Institute and has been a much sought after legal academic. In the meantime, the initial reaction of CIA BOC Director General Nilukshi Wickremesinghe was also to tender her resignation, but she is likely to hold on until the President and the Prime Minister get back to the country from their foreign trips this week. PM leaves for Belgium tomorrow for GSP Plus talks. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe will leave for Brussels, Belgium tomorrow to hold talks with senior officials of the European Union aimed at restoring the EU generalized scheme of preferences. He is scheduled to meet Belgian Prime Minister and senior European Council and European Union officials during his stay in Brussels. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe will also have an audience with Prince Laurent. As economic power shifts to Asia, Hambantota Port Mattala Airport operations to be done by PPP. The government has agreed that the port of Hambantota operations and Mattala Airport operations will be done by public-private partnership together with Chinese companies, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said. Supreme Court serves charge sheet on Namal. The Supreme Court yesterday served a charge sheet on Hambantota District MP Namal Rajapaksa regarding a complaint that he had allegedly disrespected the authority of the Bribery Commission by failing to appear before the Commission without reasonable cause. Finally, let's move to Ceylon Today. New sensation hits Lasantha murder. I killed Lasantha. Free Udalgama. Ex-intelligent officer admits killing in suicide note. Basil denies Malwana property ownership. Judge orders auction. President's speech triggers resignations. BC, CID, FCID top officials deeply offended. Several top officials of the Bribery Commission, CID and FCID are planning to seek transfers in a sequel to last week's comments made by President Maithripala Sirisena regarding the independence of these institutions. Sources said Director General of the Bribery Commission, Niluxi Dias Wickramasinghe, has already taken flight to Malaysia and she is expected to make a decisive announcement on her return shortly. A top police officer stated that several police officers at the CID and the FCID who had worked tirelessly on several cases had been deeply disturbed by the President's censure of their institutions and had also held talks with their superiors on possible threats to their lives emerging out of their work. He said these remarks by the President at a time when certain cases against members of the former regime are almost nearing completion had also helped to further dampen the spirits of those handling such cases. New EU envoy in Colombo. Civil action groups warn President PM. 48 civil society groups yesterday sternly warned President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe not to squabble in public like kids in a feeble attempt to protect their respective parties, but instead to work for the people based on what they have been empowered and tasked to do by the public. With that, let's come to an end of today's paper highlights. We will come with more news tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening to Athavan Newspaper Highlights.